The European Central Bank, their president is a guy named Mario Draghi, and I may be mispronouncing his last name, and he has come out, speaking of neoliberalism, the idea that marketplaces solve everything. If marketplaces solve everything, who's the king? The banksters, right? They're at the top of the marketplaces. They're the arbiters of the marketplace. And so this is from today's Financial Times. Claire Jones in Sintra, which I believe is in Spain. No, it's in Portugal. And the ECB is having, the European Central Bank, having a meeting there, and Mario Draghi is there. And he has called on economic officials from around the world to join forces. See, this is this ultimate thinking of, you know, we smart guys who understand the marketplace and understand the world, we'll just figure it all out. And all you peons out there, just trust us, we'll make it all work. I mean, yeah, the billionaires are going to become multi-billionaires. You know, just in the last decade, you've seen people like the Koch brothers going from being worth, you know, a 10 or 20 billion to 80 or 100 billion. I mean, it's everybody going to get richer and richer, at least in the top 1/100th of 1%. And yes, the bottom 80%, they're going to see their incomes fall. And yes, you're going to see manufacturing vanish from industrialized countries. It's going to move to developing countries. And when they get fully developed, it's going to move from them to the next developing country. As Jack Welch, the former CEO of GE, once said, you know, if I could build a barge and put my factory on it and just move it from country to country as labor became more expensive, move to the next cheap labor country, I'd do it. So this is this worldview. Mario Draghi has called on economic officials from around the world to join forces and align their policymaking decisions, saying a shift toward a more global view would prevent some of the worst side effects of aggressive monetary easing by central banks. Now, there's to unpack that. First of all, what's going on right now is the economy worldwide, because of neoliberalism, conservative economics, Thatcherism, Reaganomics, whatever you want to call it. And I'm just, you know, I'm going to continue calling this neoliberalism. I'm not. It's, you know, the entire world uses that phrase. And the United States is starting to in substantial ways. In fact, back in 2007, I wrote a book review for a book by a guy named David Harvey called A Brief History of Neoliberalism. That's the title of his book. You can find the book review over at thomhartmann.com. I wrote it in September, as I recall, of 2007. And he defined it, and I thought it was just a brilliant explanation. He says, neoliberalism is, in the first instance, a theory of political economic practices that proposes that human well-being can best be advanced by liberating individual entrepreneurial freedoms and skills within an institutional framework characterized by strong property rights, free markets, and free trade. The role of the state is to create and preserve an institutional framework appropriate to such practices. In other words, the state is here to serve the marketplace. Now, the idea that the founders had in this country was that the marketplace was here to serve we the people, and that the state was here to serve we the people. The state was the instrument of we the people, and the marketplace was subordinate to the state. Because we had seen what happened when the marketplace ran everything. It was called the British East India Company. We destroyed $1 million worth of their tea in 1773. That kicked off the American Revolution, arguably. Certainly changed Thomas Jefferson's mind. And he became a revolutionary, among others. So anyhow, so number one, you know, we've got this. You know, we understand everything. And number two, what's going on is because the economies are not working, because we're not practicing classical Keynesianism, we're not injecting money at the bottom of the economy. The New York Times did another great piece yesterday, the day before, on how private equity now is in the home business. And they're screwing people just like the banksters did. Because they're banksters. What do you expect? And, you know, it continues. I mean, Chris Christie has the bizarre play. I'll tell you about that in a little bit, which is just another variation on this. And we're seeing, all over the world, we're seeing this battle for basically the heart and soul of the future. Anyhow, it's also Anything Goes summer. We'll pick up your phone calls. The book that I wrote the review for, it's called A Brief History of Neoliberalism by David Harvey. And I encourage you to check it out. We'll be back 15 minutes past the hour.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
And that was in 2007, but the book is as prescient then as it is today. Stick around.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.